This message carries divine fire. Archangel Michael has seen what unfolded, and heaven is waiting for your response. If you turn away from this warning, the weight may be heavy. My child, my beloved, today I do not speak with softness alone. The atmosphere of heaven is stirred, and your name is echoing with urgency. You cannot delay this moment or assume another chance will appear later. This message has reached you now because the window is still open. But it will not remain open forever. I come not in anger, but with holy urgency, because heaven has seen the mistake and the silence surrounding it. If you continue to ignore what must be corrected, the consequences will not be small. This message is not general. It was not sent for the curious or the distracted. It was sent for you, directly and personally. Your name was called by the Most High, and I, Michael, was commanded to bring this message with seriousness, not comfort. Before I reveal what has been seen, understand this. The fact that you are hearing this now means grace is still reaching for you. Heaven is still offering your spirit one final space to recognize, respond, and return before the moment closes. But that space is narrow. Heaven is not counting days now, but seconds. You are not being punished. You are being warned. And warning is mercy. When the mistake is still fresh and correction is still possible, open your heart quickly before doubt hardens it into resistance. My child, my beloved, do not mistake silence for safety. Just because lightning has not struck the ground does not mean the sky above you is not already breaking open. God has shielded you from seeing the full weight of what has shifted behind the veil. But I see it clearly, and you must hear this. The decision you recently made, the one you thought no one noticed, was never hidden from heaven. What you whispered in fear, what you did in uncertainty, even what you almost did but stopped before completing, has all been recorded in light, not to shame you, but to give you one final chance to correct the ripple before it becomes a wave. You must subscribe to this message of truth and transformation now, because this isn't just information, it's intervention. This is a spiritual lifeline. Those who delay, who assume they'll come back to it later, they are the ones who lose everything without knowing. Is it snowing when it's slipped away? But if your heart is still open and you feel the trembling inside you, then it's not too late. Subscribe now, because heaven has given me permission to deliver more, but only to those who stay, and I am under orders to withhold nothing from those who are still listening with their full spirit engaged. My child, my beloved, heaven is not calm because something sacred was placed in your path, and it was mishandled. Perhaps you didn't see it clearly, but you were given something, a conversation, a choice, a financial door, or even a person that was meant to be treated with reverence, and instead it was nearly discarded. This is why I'm not calm, because if you continue forward as if nothing happened, a pattern will begin, and that pattern will lock you out of what was next. You must stop and acknowledge what you missed before it hardens into a loss. You must remember, heaven doesn't raise its voice for nothing. If I, Archangel Michael, have been sent to speak in warning instead of comfort, it is because the moment requires force, not force against you, but force against the enemies planned to keep you blind. You are not being scolded. You are being shaken awake, because what happens next depends entirely on what you do now, and what you do now must come from humility, not pride. My child, my beloved, this isn't about punishment. It's about divine interruption. Sometimes the Father loves you so much that He disrupts your plans to rescue your soul, and that's what this is. Rescue, even if it feels like a rebuke, because the mistake you made didn't only affect you. It opened a window for the enemy to enter, and while you think nothing changed, I see what's been trying to slip in through that crack, and I cannot allow it. You may think it was a small decision, a forgotten conversation, a quick reply, a door you opened or didn't open. What in the realm of spirit, that door became a signal, and we must close it now together. There is something else I must say, and I say it with trembling. Authority, this is not the first time heaven has tried. I'd like to get your attention about this matter. There were signs. There were dreams. There was an unusual feeling in your chest that you brushed off. But God is merciful, and this message is the final trumpet before the shift becomes permanent. Listen carefully. What is about to be revealed will change how you see everyone around you and yourself. And you are strong enough to face it, but only if you stop treating warnings like suggestions. This is not a suggestion. It is a divine instruction. My child, my beloved, you need to know that someone has been observing your movement with jealous eyes, and while you thought they were for you, their heart has been working behind the curtain against your rising. They are closed, not physically always, but spiritually connected in a way that gives them access to your atmosphere. This is what heaven saw, and this is why I am not calm, because while you were weeping in secret, this person smiled. While you were praying for help, they were speaking against your miracle with words dipped in sweetness, but listen with resentment. If you walk away from this message thinking it's too much, then the truth is, you are not ready for the blessing you cried, light out for. But if you feel that quiet trembling in your chest, if your soul is stirring, if your heart is open even just a little, then you must stay. You must keep listening, because I will show you how to break this. I will show you what the mistake really cost and how to reverse it before it becomes permanent. My child, my beloved, I am still here because heaven has not withdrawn the warning. The weight and the spirit has not lifted, which means your window is still open, but barely. The mistake wasn't final, but the time you have to fix it is running out. There's a storm forming not on earth, but in the spiritual realm. And if you ignore this message, the storm will be permitted to reach you, not because God is cruel, but because you were told clearly, lovingly, directly, and can you choose silence over obedience? That is what shifts divine protection, not failure but pride. And I have come to burn the pride away before it buries you in consequences you don't yet see. My child, my beloved, there is a moment coming very soon when the very people who tried to limit you will pretend they always believed in you. But heaven knows the truth, and that's why I've been sent to help you draw the line now. Because if you allow them back in just before the miracle arrives, they will try to take credit for what they tried to delay. That's the danger, not just the loss of your breakthrough, but the corruption of it. And I cannot allow you to reach the divine moments surrounded by wrong spirits. There are conversations you must not have again. Secrets you must not share. Hats you must not explain. You owe no explanations for your obedience to God. When He tells you to walk away, don't stop to apologize. When He tells you to close the door, don't leave a crack out of guilt. You have a calling, recovering a commission, and anyone who cannot honor that does not deserve access to the details of what's next. This is not cruelty. This is spiritual maturity, because the season you're entering is too fragile for compromise. My child, my beloved, I see the financial miracle being released with your name on it. Yes, it is already written. But the delivery requires protection. It is not being withheld out of punishment. It is being delayed because the environment has not yet been made secure. You must understand, heaven does not waste blessings. What's coming to you is large. It is sacred. It carries weight. It will transform more than just your bank account. It will alter how people see you, how doors open, how decisions are made around you. And that's why this cleansing is so critical, because what you allow into your space now will shape how the next season unfolds. The two people in question are not just thieves of money, they are thieves of energy, of peace, of clarity. They bring confusion wrapped in concern. And you've mistaken their proximity for purity, but I was commanded to expose it, because if you continue trusting what God has already exposed, you are not walking in faith, you are walking in rebellion. And rebellion doesn't always look like evil. Sometimes it looks like loyalty to the wrong people, and that's why heaven is shaking everything. Because God would rather disturb your comfort than let you miss your calling. My child, my beloved, this shift is going to feel lonely at first. Don't be afraid of that. Sacred transitions always begin with separation. But what feels like loss is actually realignment. God is pulling you away from voices that distracted you, and soon you'll hear Him more clearly than you ever have. The heaviness you've been carrying, it wasn't yours. It was the weight of being entangled in atmospheres that didn't honor your anointing. But as you begin to obey, you will feel lighter, sharper, wiser, and you'll begin to notice things you missed before: hidden motives, secret plans, and divine confirmations that this message was real. There's a name that will come to mind as you read this. Someone you loved, but whose spirit has shifted in a way you can't explain. Trust that discomfort is discernment, and your discernment is being sharpened through this very moment. Don't let sentimentality silence it. What's ahead of you is too miraculous to be shared with people who celebrate you publicly but compete with you privately. You've outgrown the space they were comfortable keeping you in, and now they feel threatened, not by your behavior, but by your becoming. My child, my beloved, heaven has already made the decision, but earth is waiting on your response. The scroll of favor with your name on it is sealed. The financial release has been stamped. The angel of provision has been dispatched. But all of it hinges on one thing: your willingness to take this message seriously. If you do, the next 7 days will bring signs so specific you'll weep in awe. You'll begin to receive confirmation in conversations, in patterns, even in dreams. Doors you thought were locked will swing open. Delayed answers will start arriving. Things that didn't make sense will begin aligning, because the atmosphere will finally be clear for heaven to act without interference. But if you ignore this, if you shrug it off, postponed action, keep walking with the same crowd, the delay will stretch, and the miracle will wait, not because it was taken, but because it was protected from you. That is the holy tension of this moment. You are either the protector of the promise or the reason it pauses. And heaven is holding its breath for your answer. My child, my beloved, the angels are still near. They haven't stepped away, but they are waiting, watching, listening. The atmosphere around you is tense in the spirit, not with chaos, but with decision. One divine decision can reset everything. One choice to obey this message can shift the tide so fast, the very people who questioned your worth will be left speechless by your eyes. But you must decide now. This is not a message to file away for later. This is a divine instruction wrapped in mercy, spoken in the final moments before the storm hits or the heavens open. Which one happens depends on you. You may feel like you've already failed too deeply to recover, but that's a lie. The enemy whispered that to keep you passive, but I, Archangel Michael, break that lie with fire. You are not disqualified. You are not abandoned, but you are being corrected, and correction is the mercy that keeps you from collapse. Accept it with humility, and everything, yes, everything will realign. You don't need more time. You need more trust, because the delay is not in heaven. It's in your willingness to let go of what is familiar and follow what is, my child, my beloved. The two people still remain spiritually tethered to parts of your plan. They don't even need to be near you physically. Their access was emotional. You allowed their opinions to matter more than your anointing. You waited for their validation instead of heaven's signal, and that delay cost you something. But it doesn't have to cost you everything. Cut the tether now, not in anger, but in authority. You don't need revenge. You need release. Because holding on to those ties even silently is like dragging anchors into your next flight. My child, my beloved, you may feel a quiet strength rising right now. That is your spirit recognizing truth. You don't need confrontation. You don't need drama. You simply need alignment. And alignment looks like silence, like observation, like stepping back and watching patterns instead of reacting emotionally. When you change internally, everything externally rearranges. People who are comfortable when you were small may feel uncomfortable when you rise. That doesn't make them bad. It just means you've outgrown certain spaces. Growth always feels lonely at first, but it leads to peace. My child, my beloved, your destiny is protected. Nothing meant for you can be stolen unless you hand it away. And you are no longer the same person who gives blindly. You are wiser now. You see clearly now. Heaven is proud of your growth. That is why this message came, not to threaten you, but to awaken you. From this moment, your money will begin to stay. Your plans will begin to succeed quietly. Your confidence will deepen, and you will notice a shift, not outside first, but inside. You will stop doubting your instincts. You will stop explaining yourself. You will move in quiet authority. This is your turning point, not because something bad is coming, but because something better is waiting. My child, my beloved, now that you have seen what was hidden, you cannot go back. Your spirit knows the truth, and truth doesn't become untrue just because it's uncomfortable. This is the moment your breakthrough truly begins. Not when the money hits your hands, but when the clarity hits your soul. Because financial increase without spiritual discernment leads to loss. But when heaven opens your eyes, first, the blessing that follows can be kept, not just received. You will start to notice certain patterns breaking on their own. Situations that kept repeating delays, miscommunications, missed opportunities will suddenly shift. That's not coincidence. That's realignment. You will also begin to hear things differently. Conversations you once tolerated will now sound sharp, loud, unsettling. That is your spirit refusing to return to a lower level. Let that be your confirmation. Elevation has begun. My child, my beloved, in the next 3 days, something small but very specific will happen, and it will remind you of this message. It may be a number, a name, a place, or a sentence someone speaks casually, but your spirit will know it's not casual. That is heaven's way of reminding you that this moment wasn't imagined, this correction was divine, and the reward is already in motion. It won't feel like a dramatic explosion. It will feel like doors unlocking with ease, less effort, more flow. That is how divine recovery begins. Your finances will start to respond to your obedience. Doors that were locked will begin to open without you pushing. People who were once distracted by your presence will now feel drawn to help you, not by force, but by assignment. Because when you are lying, favor follows access, peace, and divine yes. My child, my beloved, your enemies will not understand this shift. They will feel it before they see it, and some of them will pretend they've always supported you. Don't fall for it. Let fruits speak louder than their words. You don't need revenge. You don't need to confront them. Your eyes will be your response. Heaven will handle what your heart no longer has to. You're about to be remembered in places where you were overlooked. Someone who wants to dismiss your value is being stirred by God to call your name again, but this time with honor. That is what obedience creates. A reversal. You didn't lose anything permanently. It was preserved, not removed. And now that your spirit has matured, God is unlocking what was once delayed. My child, my beloved, you are not who you were 10 minutes ago. You have changed in the spirit, and soon that change will manifest in the natural. Your peace will grow. Your sleep will deepen. The anxiety that once filled your chest will loosen. You will find yourself smiling for no reason, thanking God without even realizing it, because your soul Google feels safe again. That's what divine obedience brings. Safety, protection, miracles that don't have to be chased. They flow towards you. Remember what you lost in confusion. You will recover in clarity. But you must protect what's coming. Don't talk too much. Don't announce too early. Move quietly. Guard your new beginning. The shift is real, but it still needs covering. And I, Michael, have been assigned to help you keep it sealed until it's strong enough to shine. My child, my beloved, now that the shift has started, you must remain alert, not in fear, but in wisdom. Heaven has activated your discernment in a new way, and you'll begin noticing what you used to overlook. Watch closely how others respond when you no longer explain yourself. Some only loved the version of you that was open, available, and unaware. But this wiser version, the one protecting your calling, will unsettle hidden motives. That discomfort is not conflict, it is confirmation. The financial restoration moving toward you is not accidental. It is part of a heavenly timeline that was paused for a season, but never canceled or forgotten. When your spirit was surrounded by noise, the blessing had to wait. But now, clarity has returned, and the delay is breaking. What begins to arrive will not only meet your needs, it will restore confidence in your favor. It will silence every voice that doubted what heaven placed over your life. And now you must know, this one person who has spoken against you is about to be revealed, not through gossip, but through divine exposure. My child, my beloved, the revelation will not arrive loudly. It may appear like coincidence, through a screenshot, a careless phrase, or an unexpected conversation. but your spirit will recognize it immediately. When you see it, do not retaliate. That moment is not being sent to drag you into drama. It is being sent to confirm what heaven already whispered. So let the revelation become your release. You do not need to confront them or prove what happened. Thank God for exposing what you could never prove alone. Protection is hidden inside exposure, and this truth is meant to free you, not trouble you. If you walk away because this message feels too heavy, then your spirit may not be ready for the blessing you cried out for. But if your chest trembles softly and your soul feels stirred, you must keep listening. Stay open, because what comes next will show you how to break free. It will reveal what the mistake truly cost and how to reverse its power before it becomes permanent in your path. My child, my beloved, I am still here because heaven has not removed the warning. The weight in the spirit has not lifted, which means your window remains open, but only barely. The mistake was not final, yet the time to correct it is moving quickly. A storm is forming, not on the earth, but in the spiritual realm, and this message came so you can respond before it reaches your life. And if you ignore this message, the storm will be permitted to reach you, not because God is cruel, but because you were told clearly, lovingly, directly, and you chose silence over obedience. That is what shifts divine protection, not failure, but pride. And I have come to burn the pride away before it buries you in consequences you don't yet see. Listen to me, beloved, because I am speaking not only to your mind, but to your future. The consequences are not limited to you. If you ignore this message, the people connected to you, your finances, your legacy, your influence, your emotional stability, all of it will begin to dry up in strange, play an unexpected way, and you won't even connect it to this moment unless I tell you now. The drought would begin here. The heavens are still open, but they will not remain open for the proud or dismissive. You are still loved. You are still chosen. But you must respond with humility, not excuses. My child, my beloved, there is a spirit of manipulation working through two people who are closer to you than you think. And the mistake you made, whether it was trusting them too easily, or ignoring your own inner voice, or speaking too freely about your blessings, gave them access they should have never had. And now they're building a plan. Not a dramatic one, not a loud one, but a quiet, clever one. That's what makes it dangerous. You won't see it on the surface. You won't hear it in their voice, but it is growing like a vine in secret, slowly wrapping itself around your open doors, trying to squeeze them shut. This is why I am not calm. Because you think things are fine, you think the silence means peace. But I am seeing what you cannot, the preparation of a betrayal disguised as closeness. And heaven is grieved because this was avoidable, but only if you act now. If you ignore this and continue smiling in the presence of those who are already writing the script to your loss, you will not be able to recover what will be taken. You must cut the vine before it blooms. You must interrupt the plot before it becomes prophecy. That is why I've come. My child, my beloved, this is not the season to be naive. This is not the season to wait for proof when you've already received revelation. God doesn't always show you their faces. Sometimes He just sends a warning. And this is that warning. If you open your mouth too freely again, if you reveal your plans to people who didn't pray with you in the dark, they will rob you in the light. Your destiny is too big to be shared with every year. And if you continue thinking everyone around you loves your rising, You will learn the hard way that not everyone who claps what's for you is clean. Heaven saw what was whispered, and heaven saw how you almost caught it. But then you gave them another chance. I'm not saying you were wrong to forgive. I'm saying you were wrong to trust again without wisdom. Forgiveness is divine. But the sermon to survival. And now I am here to restore your vision before you walk into a setup, because that's what this is, a spiritual setup. And if you don't break it now, it will look like a sudden failure. But it will be the result of a very old plan. Their plan, not God's. My child, my beloved, do you feel that trembling again? That uneasiness in your chest, that racing pulse in your spirit? It's because what I'm saying isn't just resonating, it's confirming. You knew something was off. You sensed it, but you didn't have the language. Now you do. I am giving you the clarity you prayed for. But clarity without action is wasted grace. You must act. You must protect what heaven has placed in your hands, because if you don't, they will take what's not theirs and pretend it was never yours. You were marked for abundance. You were marked for divine promotion. But with elevation comes exposure, and not everyone can breathe in the air of your rising. That's why they're trying to pull you back down with false concern, with emotional guilt, with quiet sabotage. And if you ignore this message, you will be opening the door for them to succeed. I was not sent to tell you that everything is fine. I was sent to tell you that everything can still be fixed, but only if you act before the clock runs out. My child, my beloved, you are not alone in this. Your angels are already positioning themselves around you. I am drawing my sword not against you, but around you to block what's moving in your blind spot. But I cannot protect what you keep inviting. If your heart is open, I will give you the signs. If your spirit is listening, I will show you the names, but you must stay in this message long enough for your eyes to fully open. The next part of this revelation will feel like fire, because truth often burns before it heals, but I will not leave you alone in the fire. I will walk you through it. My child, my beloved, heaven is still watching. The silence between this message and your next decision is filled with the eyes of angels. They are not watching to judge. They are watching to see if you will step into the shift or surrender to the sabotage. It has come down to this. You can either protect your promise or you can keep pretending it's not under attack, but you cannot do both. Your blessing has weight. Your name in the Spirit has been gaining strength. And that's why the enemy didn't come with swords. He came with whispers, with familiar voices, with subtle hands that pretend to help but quietly rearrange the walls of your destiny. You may feel like you've already failed too deeply to recover, but that's a lie. The enemy whispered that to keep you passive, but I, Archangel Michael, break that lie with fire. You are not disqualified. You are not abandoned, but you are being corrected, and correction is the mercy that keeps you from collapse. Accepted with humility, and everything, yes, everything will realign. You don't need more time. You need more trust, because the delay is not in heaven. It's in your willingness to let go of what is familiar and follow what is divine. My child, my beloved, the two people still remain spiritually tethered to parts of your plan. They don't even need to be near you physically. Their access was emotional. You allowed their opinions to matter more than your anointing. You waited for their validation instead of heaven's signal. And that delay cost you something, but it doesn't have to cost you everything. Cut the tether now, not in anger but in authority. You don't need revenge. You need release, because holding on to those ties, even silently, is like dragging anchors into your next flight. The next season you are stepping into requires elevation. Financially, emotionally, spiritually, you are being lifted, but everything that flies must lose weight. And these attachments, these people-pleasing patterns, these quiet loyalties to voices that do not carry Larry Heaven's oil, they are weights, and they will keep you grounded while the sky waits for you to rise. You must choose. Keep them, or keep your wings, but not both, because the wind of heaven is moving, and it will not wait forever for you to join it. My child, my beloved, this isn't just about you. It's about your bloodline. You are the breaker. You are the chosen interruption. You were marked to stop what ran through generations unchecked, and that's why you felt so much pressure lately. Because the system that has kept others in lack in silence, in cycles, it knows you are different, and it's afraid. The enemy doesn't fight what he's not threatened by. Your warfare is proof that your obedience matters. And this message, this moment, is the key to turning pressure into power. But you must walk through it. I must tell you again, your financial release is real. It is not imagination. It is not far, but it is sensitive. It is holy. And God is waiting to see if you will treat it with the honor it deserves. That means protecting it before it arrives. That means cleaning your atmosphere. That means letting go of voices that question your divine identity every time you try to rise. You cannot afford to stay connected to confusion. Not now, not when heaven is this close to your name. My child, my beloved, pause for a moment and breathe. Even when heaven speaks urgently, it never speaks to terrify you, control you, or trap you in fear. True guidance brings clarity, not panic. So hear this carefully. You are not cursed. You are not condemned, and you are not doomed. You are being invited into wisdom. There is a difference. Correction is love wearing a serious face, and love never wants to destroy you. It wants to mature you. Sometimes the greatest mistake isn't something dramatic. It's staying silent when your spirit already felt undolamand. It's ignoring your own inner voice. It's giving too much access to people who don't understand your journey. That doesn't make you foolish. It makes you human. And heaven doesn't shame humans for learning. It teaches them how to grow. My child, my beloved, not every warning means someone is evil. Sometimes people around us act from their own wounds, fears, or limitations. And yes, their actions can affect us financially, emotionally, or spiritually, but the purpose of this message is not to make you suspicious, it is to make you aware. Awareness is power. You are being asked to strengthen your boundaries, not burn bridges. You are being guided to protect your energy, not to fight anyone. Your money, your plans, your dreams, they are sacred. You don't owe everyone full access to them. Even family does not automatically receive the keys to your destiny. Love does not mean exposure. Trust must be earned through consistency, not bloodline. And heaven is teaching you this lesson now, because your future is expanding. When your life grows, your circle must become wiser, not bigger. My child, my beloved, you are entering a season where financial clarity is coming. But clarity also shows you where leaks exist. That does not mean theft. It means mismanagement of access. You shared too much. You explained too much. You trusted without discernment. That is not sin. That is experience. and experience is how wisdom is born. This message is not here to accuse anyone. It is here to empower you. From today, you move differently. Do you speak carefully? You protect your plans. You stop explaining your vision to people who never prayed for it. That alone will shift everything, my child, my beloved. You may feel a quiet strength rising right now. That is your spirit recognizing truth. You don't need confrontation. You don't need drama. You simply need alignment. And alignment looks like silence, like observation, like stepping back and watching patterns instead of reacting emotionally. When you change internally, everything externally rearranges. People who are comfortable when you were small may feel uncomfortable when you rise. That doesn't make them bad. It just means you've outgrown certain spaces. Growth always feels lonely at first, but it leads to peace. My child, my beloved, your destiny is protected. Nothing meant for you can be stolen unless you hand it away. And you are no longer the same person who gives blindly. You are wiser now. You see clearly now. Heaven is proud of your growth. That is why this message came, not to threaten you, but to awaken you from this moment. Your money will begin to stay. Your plans will begin to succeed quietly. Your confidence will deepen, and you will notice a shift, not outside first, but inside. You will stop doubting your instincts. You will stop explaining yourself. You will move in quiet authority. This is your turning point, not because something bad is coming, but because something better is waiting. My child, my beloved, my child, my beloved, you are not alone in this. Your angels are already positioning themselves around you. I am drawing my sword, not against you, but around you, to block what's moving in your blind spot. But I cannot protect what you keep inviting. If your heart is open, I will give you the signs. If your spirit is listening, I will show you the names. But you must stay in this message long enough for your eyes to fully open. The next part of this revelation will feel like fire, because truth often burns before it heals. But I will not leave you alone in the fire. I will walk you through it. My child, my beloved, heaven is still watching. The silence between this message and your next decision is filled with the eyes of angels. They are not watching to judge, they are watching to see if you will step into the shift or surrender to the sabotage. It has come down to this. You can either protect your promise, or you can keep pretending it's not under attack. But you cannot do both. Your blessing has weight. Your name in the Spirit has been gaining strength, and that's why the enemy didn't come with swords. He came with whispers, with familiar voices, with subtle hands that pretend to help, but quietly rearrange the walls of your destiny. You must not ignore this, because what seems peaceful on the surface is being bought with the price of your delay, and I cannot let that go unspoken. I was commanded to warn you, not because your story ends in destruction, but because destruction is standing close enough to your door that a single, go unguarded moment could invite it in. And if that happens, it won't be an instant collapse. It'll be slow, subtle, confusing. You'll feel drained. You'll lose focus. You'll keep missing opportunities and not know why. That's what this warning is here to prevent. My child, my beloved, the two people I spoke of, yes, the ones heaven identified, are not always acting with full awareness of what they're doing. Sometimes they are being influenced. Sometimes they are being used. But the result is the same. They are vessels of delay, vessels of interference, And while you may still love them, you must not give them unrestricted access to your next season. You can love them without letting them sit at the table of your secrets. You can honor them without letting them touch the strategy of your breakthrough. Right now, your financial future is under negotiation in the spirit realm. What do you receive in? When you receive it depends not only on what you've prayed for, put on what you've protected, and I must tell you plainly, you have not protected everything heaven gave you, but you still can. The leak is still small. The damage is still reversible. But if you delay this one more time, the restoration will be much harder and the cost will not be light. I am speaking now with fire in my wings and a sword drawn, because this is not just a mistake, it's a crossroad. And if you do not turn now, the road ahead will turn on you, my child, my beloved. You may feel like you've already lost too much. You may feel like you've already made too many mistakes. But I bring this message not to condemn you. I bring it because your next blessing is still reachable. It's not gone. It's waiting for your alignment. And once you align, it will come fast, swiftly, suddenly. You will barely have time to prepare. What preparation begins in obedience? If you obey this message, if you close the wrong doors and strengthen the right ones, heaven will pour out something so tailored, so specific, that even those who doubted you will fall silent. I want you to know something else. A miracle was supposed to reach you already. A financial gate had already opened. But someone, yes, one of the two, delayed it with their involvement. It wasn't theft in the traditional sense. It was a spiritual interception. They were not meant to touch that season, but they did, through your access. And that is what we must reset. You do not need to attack them. You do not need to confront them violently. You need to remove their name from the next room of your spirit. And that can only happen through quiet decisions made in private obedience. My child, my beloved, there is no need to panic, but action is required now. God is not punishing you. He is inviting you into correction. And that correction will open the door to restoration. For every loss, every delay, and every silent wound, heaven has prepared repayment. That restoration begins when you stop allowing everyone to walk freely through the garden of your life. Some people admire your fruit while hiding blades in their hands. I am here to reveal what you were not allowed to see before. This is not meant to frighten you, but to protect your future from being gambled away through silence. After this message, you will notice a shift. Conversations will change. Certain people will distance themselves, and others may begin acting strangely. Do not chase them. Let the separation happen, because it confirms that a spiritual door is closing to those who were never meant to follow you forward. If you remain faithful through this process, a release will come openly. People will wonder how everything turned in your favor so suddenly, but you will know the truth. It began here, with this message, this moment, and this decision. My child, my beloved, a moment is coming very soon. Those who tried to limit you may pretend they always believed in you, but heaven knows what they did. And that is why I have been sent to help you draw the line now before the miracle arrives. If you allow them back in too close to your breakthrough, they may try to take credit for what they once tried to delay. That is the danger. Not only losing the blessing, but allowing it to be corrupted. I cannot allow you to enter a divine moment surrounded by the wrong spirits. There are conversations you must not reopen, secrets you must not share, and paths you must no longer explain to people who cannot honor your obedience. You owe no explanation for following God. When He tells you to walk away, do not pause to apologize. When He tells you to close the door, do not leave it cracked open because guilt tries to pull you backward. You carry a calling, a recovery, and a commission. Anyone who cannot respect that does not deserve access to the details of what heaven is preparing next. This is not cruelty. This is spiritual maturity. The season you are entering is too fragile for compromise, too sacred for careless access, and too important to expose to those who never protected your heart. Guard what God is building, because this time it must remain pure.